Today we're going to take a look at a formation that I've been using for the first time in quite a while. I really haven't dug deep into singleback big since about Madden 08 and the days of the dominant halfback slam and tight end cross. But flipping strong power out of pistol ace without it being detected by the defense is really what made me think, well, let's see what singleback big has to offer in the next gen run game. And the first play that I called was ATL zone weak. Then it was the second play that I called, and then it was the third play I called, and then it was the fourth and the fifth play that I called, and many yards later, it was very clear that this running play was boss. Then the next game that I played, I basically just sat at the line, fake audibling, flipping the run back and forth undetected, just until I saw a favorable side to run, snap the ball, and off to the races. Now at first, anytime they stacked the box with only one safety deep, I basically just put both outside wide receivers on streaks and throw it to the opposite side of the field that the safety played, just to get a big play or even just to keep them honest and make them second guess. The best thing about this run, though, is that it's so easy to have success. The play develops in such a way that makes it easy for literally anyone to read whether you should take it off tackle or to the outside. Either way, we're going to pick up huge yards. While the run I just showed you absolutely destroys zone defense, I will admit that against certain man press defenses, the corner gets off the block and makes a really annoying tackle on our halfback. With that said, though, about the run sometimes struggling against only certain man coverages, the one thing this formation does really well in the passing game is beat man coverage. So if you play someone who's running that type of man coverage and is pressing the corner, getting off the block for the tackle, let's just pass on him and destroy that man coverage until he decides that he's had enough and resorts to zone. And the first time that I see him make the switch back to zone, the very next play I'm running ATL zone weak. Now here in the play PA 218 corner, I'm showing you a route that I showed you guys in Madden 13 in a couple of my schemes that absolutely destroys man coverage. And the angled corner is just as effective this year. Now as far as the play action goes, because my main play is a run play, I'm always going to start out by leaving the play action in. But if they do a good job of getting pressure, I'm going to block the running back. No pass lead is needed, but depending on how the coverage is, you might need to throw a pass lead here and there. If it's off coverage pre-snap, that's usually when I'm going to pass lead down to the sideline, click on, and manually make the catch underneath the defender as he breaks to the sideline. It's not always needed, but it can be useful. This is also a great route to pick up a big chunk of yards at the end of the half or end of the game when trying to get into field goal range and out of bounds if you don't have any timeouts left. Like I said, nothing too fancy, just a very, very effective route. Now in this formation, when it comes to the passing game for each play that I show you, I'm pretty much just going to focus on the one main route while mixing up everything else. The tight end streak on the same side of the angled corner is always going to be my route for him. It beats zones, and more importantly, it pulls away any possible defender that might get in the way of the corner. Now generally, I'm going to make sure that I have two routes that beat man and two routes that beat zone in pretty much any play that I use, whether it's smart routed in route, slant, drag, whatever. Another great route that does a really good job against man coverage is the right side wide receiver in the play PA crosses. The great thing about this is, if they call man expecting the angled corner to be the target, this route just continues to run across the field, leaving a sneaky user defender out of the play, or ruining their purple route. Now you don't need to lob this pass like you're seeing me do in the clips, but it does help. Plus, it's just really fun to annoy your opponent with a ball that hangs in the air forever, knowing he has no chance to make a play on the ball. Another thing I'd like to add about this formation is that I played a lot of ranked games, which is on that all-pro garbage, and that just gives bad players every chance in the world to win by an incredible amount of bullshit like you have never seen in your life. And because of that, my all-pro philosophy is just to limit the amount of bullshit that can happen to give that bum that you're playing a chance to win. So because we can do whatever we want without giving anything away and just sit at the line of scrimmage, we're going to fake audible a zillion times back and forth between pass plays, run plays, milking the hell out of the clock. Now after that, like I said about the previous play, I just like to mix up my routes, generally using the idea of two routes that beat man and two routes that beat zone. The crossing route on the opposite side does a really nice job against zone coverage. Aside from just mixing up my routes, I like putting the tight end on the opposite side of the man beater on a smart routed out route, and I do that for two reasons. One is on the off chance that our man beater doesn't get the separation that we want, the smart routed out route beats man. And 2, the zone-beating crossing route mixed with the smart-routed out route on the same side gives us an opportunity to beat zone inside or outside. Just give it a try and you're going to see what I mean. Now we're going to take a look at the play PA double go, which is a passing play that I love to use against zone coverage. The tight end on the post route is a great fit for what we're trying to do. It's a play action, so if they commit to the run at all, especially with the linebacker, we're going to be looking really good for an easy completion. Plus, if they play the tight end, we've used so many tight end streaks on some of our other plays that the cut to the post is usually just enough. You know, where our opponent is strafing underneath and flat-footed, so sure that we're still running another tight end streak, the cut to the middle is going to be just enough to get a completion. It's not anything super special at all, but nothing I'm showing you today really is. It's all about doing just enough to keep the ball moving and just enough to keep your opponent unsure. And this formation offers that. Plus, if you happen to play in a no-cheese sim league, what we're doing here is no grounds for your opponent to complain. I play in a couple sim leagues just to mess around and kind of get away from always trying to come up with the next tip for the Madden Lab or whatever. And I definitely throw this formation in a couple times here and there. Now, obviously, tight ends on corner routes have been effective forever in Madden. So, because of that, I also like to throw in the play PA Bucks Y corner. The setup for this is generally going to be the same every time, except once in a while we're going to put a tight end on a streak. Now, against man coverage, either tight end is obviously a nice target, and the crossing route is a third option to beat man. Plus, all 3 of those routes actually do a pretty decent job against zone coverage. Now the B receiver, as you can see right here, I like to put on a smoke screen for when the zone coverage plays off the wide receiver, leaving him wide open. Now it's important to note that once the receiver catches the ball, I like to let the CPU move up the field on that smoke screen. You're going to get a lot more yards that way. Now if the zone defender plays close to the wide receiver, it's going to leave some nice room for the tight end to get open on the sideline, and we're going to have the third option of the crossing route. And finally, the halfback slam is actually a pretty nice run play as well. I like to use it against 3-man fronts, and if you look close, just take a look at how the offensive line loves to attack defenders up the middle. Also to note, like always, I do use a custom playbook.